Welcome back to the Nerdrotic podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And as usual, on a Friday night, I got both my co-hosts here tonight. I got Dennis Bithoulkas in San Diego, John Reed in Toluca, California. Gentlemen, what is up?
Nothing much. How about you?
I'm great. How was your day? Tell me something, Dennis.
Well, first I got up.
Oh, God.
Okay, never mind. John, how about you?
Exciting stuff, man. Playing D&D, watching terrible movies that we can talk about. It's good. You know, it's a good Friday. It's a fun Friday.
It is a good. Happy Friday, everybody.
Friday.
It's actually a Thursday for me because I work tomorrow, but who cares? We're
just still up from yesterday or something. Just haven't slept. It's still Thursday.
Dude, yeah. Well, yeah. I was also up really late doing that damn video. So we haven't podcast that much this week, but that's about to change big time because a lot of shows are coming out, a lot of announcements, and there's a lot of news. And this is our news podcast where we kind of let the chat kind of run the show after we give you some topics. But tonight we want to do a couple reviews first quickly and kind of non-spoilery. We're going to start out with the Netflix movie from Duncan Jones, Mute, with Alexander Skarsgård. Is it Skarsgård?
Yeah. Skarsgård.
Yeah, from True Blood, and Paul Rudd, and David Bowie's son directed it. And so my initial thoughts on this movie, guys, is it depressed the shit out of me. It was really beautifully morbidly sad. It was a pretty movie, but yeah.
For me, the first half of the movie was just all over the place. It was just going weird. I don't know. It didn't have the right tone. I don't know. It was just the story was all over the place. And then the last half of the movie, like I think Melissa said it best, it turned into Reservoir Dogs all of a sudden. You're like, what the hell? You know? And yeah, and then the ending was like the last 5 minutes are perfect. And you're like, okay, this is just a weird movie.
So it's strange to me because my biggest complaint about the movie is that it takes place in this like futuristic, like futuristic Berlin, and it's this kind of like cyberpunk, like it's got this weird vibe to it, but the world doesn't seem like fleshed out or lived in. Right. Like it feels like it's like pretty. It's a pretty backdrop for what's going on. But like, I have no idea what are the politics of this place? Like what's going on in this place? It just seemed like this weird backdrop for a lot of strange vignettes that led to, like you said, this Reservoir Dogs ending. So it's like the characters, you couldn't fit them into the world because the world itself wasn't very like established. And so then it just felt like really just random. Like everything going on just felt really random because of that to me.
It felt like you went to Coruscant and followed around like a homeless guy for a couple hours. But you see Jedis in the background kind of playing around, but you don't really see anything. Yeah, so it takes place in the same world as Moon. So it's Duncan Jones' cinematic universe. And yeah, it's very Blade Runner, but honestly, I can't remember what year. They might have said the year, but I can't remember what year it was.
They never said what year. And see, that was the other thing I was kind of confusing because they set Alexander Skarsgård character as an Amish person who went from the Americas back to Germany. So the Amish being technophobes, or not, they don't use technology. So now you don't know what year it is really because, he doesn't use any technology. So you can't really date it at all. And that was the other confusing thing about it. I know it was done on purpose, but at the same time, you're just kind of going, son of a bitch, really? I mean...
Well, and they had those retro cars that were like futuristic remakes of retro cars and things. Like it was really all over the place. Like
that part was cool. I love that part.
There were cool elements. Like I messaged you guys while we were watching, and I was like, some of the stuff like intrigues me in this movie, but like it's so it's just so, it felt so separate. And like Viking Bitch said in the chat, she was like, it was as if the Paul Rudd character and the Skarsgård character were in two different movies.
Yeah.
And that was also something that like Melissa said when we were talking about it offline, and like it felt totally like that, like it was two different movies going on.
Yeah, at one point, Paul Rudd's character looked like he was watching Alexander Skarsgård's character in another movie and deciding whether or not to come in. It was kind of like Double Dutch. He was waiting to kind of jump in. He's like, okay, wait. Okay, now I can jump in.
Well, and there's the big reveal. And Paul Rudd's character is supposed to look like Hawkeye, right? From
Trapper
MASH.
John. Yeah,
Trapper John. Sorry, and the other guy was well, no.
Well, they were both. It was kind of weird because he was supposed to be kind of Hawkeye-ish because he was drinking the martini, whereas the other guy was drinking beer. But he was kind of more dressed up like Trapper John because Trapper John always wore the parka and had the big mustache.
Paul Rudd looked like the movie, like the Elliot Gould version.
Yeah.
Okay. And yeah, so of MASH. And that was weird. That was fun. But the movie wasn't fun. Like ultimately, it looked like it was going to be a little bit more of a fun movie than it was just bleak and terrible and filled with people who make horrible decisions. Mm-hmm. And it was basically a foreign film where we loved each other. We killed each other. The end. Everybody dies, you know, and, remember, like, I don't know if foreign films are still doing that, but pretty much everybody died in foreign films. I don't know, from the 20s to the mid 80s, maybe mid 90s. It ceased being fun when they weren't building the world. It was cool to see the little news in the background when he walks into the diner and you see the Moon character.
The 153.
Yeah, they weren't very subtle with that Easter egg at all. So
and it kept playing. It kept popping up in the background like all over the place. And it was kind of like, I want to watch that movie instead.
Yeah.
You watch that movie?
Well, yeah, I was waiting for like copies of people to come out or something. Yeah, it just and I don't know and we're going to get a little bit in the spoiler territory here. We're not going to spoil the story, but Paul Rudd, I'll say the direction of his character while I like they flipped the script with him a little bit, not sure I like it very much. I don't like seeing him like that.
No. And Ghost World, by the way, yes, this does take place in the same universe as Moon, and it takes place just after basically what's happening on the TV is we're seeing the court drama that's happening of all the clones now that they're the 153 that have gone to court saying, this the lunar company has been making clones of them illegally because clones are illegal and forcing them to work. So that's what they're in court for right now.
You are so right, Dennis. Like, there's your movie.
Yeah.
153 versions or 200 versions of the same guy running around Earth, and just follow like 10 of them, through their lawsuit or something like that. That would be awesome. I would love that. That would be cool.
Yeah. And that was the whole thing. Like, that one scene where he's in the bar, the cafe, and on the TV, they're showing the courtroom, and he goes, I forget what the guy's name is, who Sam Rockwell played. He says, I'm Sam Peterson. No, I'm Sam Peterson. No, I'm Sam Peterson too. You see all these guys standing up in courtroom, and I started laughing. I'm like, that's the movie I want to see, man. I don't want to see this thing about this mute bartender trying to find some, girlfriend who may or may not be on the run from something. And, it just didn't have any appeal, honestly.
Was he trying to do like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, but in in his own universe? Was like that the idea?
Yeah, but Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was, it was dark, but it was fun. That was a fun movie.
Yeah. Well, and then if they had a voiceover, if they had Skarsgård doing a voiceover without, with the mute, that would have been awesome.
Like his inner thoughts instead of being able to talk. That would have been cool. But yeah, no, I had a hard time with this one though.
Missed opportunities.
Yeah, definitely. And I was really looking forward to this, but no.
And as Gary and I said in our very long pre-production meeting that we normally have, the hours on end, is that, you got to remember he dedicated this film to his father and his mother. And the one thing that was kind of evident about this is he shouldn't have been making this movie while his father was dying and then died. You could tell it really affected this movie. Really, really did. And he should have just mourned his father.
And his mother.
And his mother, yes.
And
exactly.
his mother, yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes like going to, I mean, I get that. Yeah,
I get it. It's therapy. Yes.
It's therapy. And it's experimental, and some people will probably come across as, guys, you don't understand it. I think we all understood it.
Yeah.
It just didn't speak to us. It was very, very grim. And, there's different, stages of grieving. Whatever stage he was in was the grim stage. And that's totally cool. I love the man's work. Moon was awesome. This was not, but I will give credit to Netflix again for like giving it a shot. Like I want to see way more of this from Netflix. So don't get discouraged, Netflix.
Yeah.
Keep doing stuff like this, please.
Experiment. Definitely experiment.
Yeah, here's what I'm gonna start wondering with Netflix though, because I'm not like I did not like Bright as much as you guys did, and the problems I've been having with a lot of the Netflix movies have been the execution of the specific dialogue in the movie. It's not the story ideas, it's not the amount of money they're putting into it, it's not the performances, it's the specific like line by line dialogue that's in these movies. And I feel like maybe we're seeing a little bit of a fault in the fact that there is no like studio note process going, like the control that Netflix gives them. Maybe we're seeing a little bit of like some of the editing things we see from studio pictures not happening in these Netflix pictures. I'm not saying that it is happening. I'm just saying like I have my eye out for that now after these first few forays into like projects that I would usually probably like on Netflix, that like the issues I'm having are script issues more than anything else.
And that's funny. And that's why all the creators are going to be fleeing Hollywood. We even talked about that. Our last podcast was Netflix versus Disney, and the coming war between Silicon Valley and Hollywood, which the first shots have been fired. It hasn't gotten bad yet, but it's going to get bad. And we might see a return to the studio system where a studio locks an actor down. Well, actually, we are with the Ryan Murphy locking somebody down to an exclusive deal. It's just like, you know what Netflix is, John? They're Image Comics.
Yeah,
it's Image Comics.
Yeah,
they're like, we're gonna let the artists and the writers run everything and just go and see what happens. And
and sometimes it works really well. And that's the thing is I don't know where I fall on it, right? But I'm just seeing that maybe this thing might be emerging that I'm starting to notice with some of these big movie projects that Netflix is putting out in the genres that I watch. Because I don't think it's there, like on the TV side of like the Marvel Netflix stuff and the Gilmore Girls revival. Like these are properties that I like, and I felt like Netflix treated really, really well. So I don't know. Like I'm just kind of keeping my eye out for it, I guess.
Yeah, and not all the Marvel stuff has been good, unfortunately.
True.
So it's kind of gone down. I mean, it went back up with Punisher, but it seems like on the street level stuff, they're good. But when it comes to, I mean, not to go total sidebar Marvel here, but when it comes to like hero stuff, like with costumes and Krakow and Pow, they have a big problem.
Mystical stuff is bad. The ninja stuff is bad. They're having a hard time with anything other than like the brute force street level heroes for hire type stuff.
Yep. So yeah, this. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, K Sizzle said Netflix equals Image Comics is a great comparison. I just hope they don't go broke.
No, they're fine.
They might. That 18 billion they have is borrowed. Okay, that's borrowed money.
True.
And they supposedly have not made money, but we've heard that from pretty much every tech company up here. And if you walk around up here, people are somebody's making money. I don't know. As long as they have a Todd McFarlane in the building, he's the unsung hero of Netflix. He went behind the scenes and kind of controlled a lot of the business aspects of it, because he's like the one guy who was a good businessman. Not all of his decisions were great, but he had the singular focus to like Silvestri, who never wanted to, who was just a pure artist, and Jim Lee, who thinks he's a businessman, but he's not. It was, so if they have a Todd McFarlane, it'll work out. I don't know, John, who's like the big wig at Netflix?
Reed Hastings is the guy, right? But and it's been a while since I was there, and they were just starting to invest in these types of projects. Like I was there pre House of Cards. So at the time they were hiring, they were starting to hire some of these like studio execs to come in. And it was a big deal because Reed Hastings had started it as a tech company with like a very tight group of like people, and those people were being kind of relegated to the sidelines for some of these like big studio guys. So it seems to have worked itself out, at least from an outside point of view, over the last few years, but it's definitely like Reed Hastings depending on very specific people from the studio system who have become disillusioned with Hollywood. That's like the core.
And it says something about the man's character. I don't know nothing. As a matter of fact, this is the first time I remember hearing his name. I never associated a face with Netflix. So that is definitely not Jeff Bezos, who like wants to put himself out there. Go look at a picture of Jeff Bezos like 10 years ago, and now he's like all yoked up, and he's really enjoying his position in life. But that might be actually good. And I remember you working at Netflix and telling me about like Amazon's coming. They're coming, man. It's good. That this Amazon, I don't know if it was even called Amazon Prime at the time, but you were talking about that. I'm like, you're crazy. And you're right, man. All this time later, you're right.
My point on that one was always that like you can only do so much with a subscription service and licensing deals. So whether you're licensing content and distributing it, or putting that money that you would license content, which is why we see the library get smaller and smaller on Netflix, into your own projects like HBO, like whether you're doing that, you're still in a small enough market where Amazon, who can do that and give you a pay-per-view VOD service, is just going to kill. So like if Amazon's able to say like, hey, we've got a subscription, check out all these things you can watch for free if you subscribe, but if we don't have it, you can buy it for $1. It's like, that's such a like massive difference in like trying to get users to come to you. And I think that that's where Amazon is always going to have the advantage. Their disadvantage is that it's so big. It's like walking into a Costco versus walking into, a local comic book shop, right? Like Netflix is giving you curated content, where Amazon's like, we've got everything, go for it. But they can't really hone in on their recommendations.
We can't help you find it.
Yeah, exactly. Precisely.
No, it almost seems like to me that Amazon and Netflix are kind of working together. I mean, Amazon definitely feels like they're holding back. They could crush if they want. So they're pacing themselves, and I think they're of a mind of, let's work with Netflix for a little while because we have to take on Hollywood. So let's not fight with each other, because both of us can have a big piece of this pie, and we can fight in the future. Don't worry, we will. But let's take on Hollywood, and because like Amazon's never been at Netflix's throat. Yet they've, they're still in competition. Don't get me wrong, but Amazon's got so much more. So much more resources.
They're competing with Apple, right? They're competing with the App Store. It's like Amazon versus the App Store. And with Netflix, they're like, hey, we're going to take on HBO. We're going to do creator managed content at a premium, right? And so Netflix, I think, has actually done a better job with its focus, because I think there's more content that that people are interested in coming out constantly on Netflix than on HBO. Although I like the HBO stuff more, there's less of it. And so I feel like Netflix has done a really good job of like maintaining some sort of a catalog for like people who don't care. But for those of us who do, they're in-house like Netflix specials, new Netflix TV shows, Netflix movies. I feel like they're turning out enough, and enough of it's good, that they're starting to have a better reputation than HBO, versus Amazon, who I think is still trailing Apple in the App Store.
Yeah, I mean, compared to HBO, Netflix now has a lot more, I don't know, for me, a lot more compelling stuff that I want to watch that's, Netflix originals versus HBO. I mean, HBO's got Westworld.
Game of Thrones for us.
Game of Thrones, yeah, and
Watchmen. We're gonna get Watchmen.
Yeah, I don't know about that one for me, but just because of who's involved with it, Damon Lindelof.
I'm cautious. I want it to be good. That's all I can say.
I want to believe
with that guy in charge.
I think the bigger point is that it is content for us, right? Like whether or not we like it or not, it's HBO attempting to give us content. Like we're not sorry, we're not watching Girls. Like, I'm not watching Girls. I don't know if you guys are.
No,
that's not content for me.
No one is, because they canceled it.
Right. But Watchmen, like, whether or not I end up watching it, or like, it's supposed to be content for me, and like that's something that HBO is usually delivering 1 or 2 or 3 shows at a time.
Yeah, Hulu. By the way, Ghost World says, then who is Hulu in that geography? Hulu is the bastard stepchild that no one remembers.
That's the thing, is that's the problem with Hulu. Like, Hulu doesn't know who they are in that. Right? Like, if Hulu knew where their niche was, they'd be there already. Like, they're good at what they do, right? Like, Hulu delivers a good product, and like a lot of the shows that they have coming out are like fun, but they just haven't like carved out a spot for themselves other than like, oh, it's like not as good as these other subscription services.
They don't have an identity.
Yeah, you know what stuck with them is their original business model was kind of janky. It was, remember, it started out just being access to other like CW websites.
Yeah,
so you're basically just getting on-demand content. So I think people still identify that with Hulu, which it's definitely not. It's, you know, the Runaways got lost in the shuffle, and it's funny that more people are starting to watch that. Like our recaps still get lots of views, and that was months old now, or a couple months old. And so I think people are just starting to get around to it, or maybe they just didn't want to watch it at first. I don't know.
Or they didn't want to pay for it, right? Like, we never know when somebody picks up a new subscription. They go back and watch the stuff that interests them at that point. And so like, you could get somebody who's going to be a big fan of Runaways, and they just don't subscribe to Hulu. And then one day some show makes them subscribe to Hulu, and they're like, oh yeah, Runaways. And they go back and watch it. Yeah. And like, you're going to see that more with Hulu because so many less people already subscribe to it.
And I just want to say, Jody said, Cobra Kai is what he said for Hulu. I'm like, nope. Cobra Kai is YouTube Red.
YouTube Red. Yes. Yeah. Finally, a reason to watch YouTube Red, which you should support, by the way, because it helps us a little bit. But yeah, Cobra Kai looks, we meant to talk about it last podcast. That looks kind of fun. I'm actually really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it too. I mean, when the news first broke on this, like about 6-8 months ago, and we were both going, nah, come on, really? They're going to do this? Kind of interested, but I don't know. It could suck. And then they did that teaser trailer last week, and we were just like, oh my God, I got to watch this now.
Ralph Macchio looks great.
Yeah.
He looks great. The other guy looks a little haggard, but you know, right there with your brother. So yeah, but with Amazon, we can talk about an Amazon show. Good segue there, guys. Maybe not. I don't know. But I needed to cleanse the palate a little bit from Mute, because I was not happy after I saw that. And just final words on Mute. People who made bad decisions. Yes, the girlfriend had 2 psycho boyfriends. One was just a little bit of a nicer psycho than the other one.
He kept in control better. Yeah.
But she, you know, like, yes, they were psychos and they were bad, but she also, you know, had a choice to like not be together with these people. So, yeah, my wife and I had a nice spirited conversation about that. So there's 2 sides to every story. But let's talk about something awesome.
Yes. The Tick. My God, that opening line, every Tom, Dick, and LaShonda. I started laughing, and I'm like, oh, thank God there's something back here that's actually good. Because I did the opposite, man. I saw The Tick, and then I went and watched Mute. So I went from happy to mother.
Did you end up in a lap pool of despair?
I did. I did.
Oh my God. So so much gets packed into like 25 minutes. And it just, again, like Ash versus Evil Dead, it schools people on like, this is how you write, this is how you do television, this is how you do comedy. And you know, it's not dick and fart jokes, and it's the best comic book parody done well each time it's been brought out of the comic. So the cartoon, genius. The Fox series, the short-lived Fox series, genius, and all in their own different way. And this Amazon series like levels it up, because it's got it. It's a little serious. It's the first time it's, you know, we're going to have a serious character, not totally serious. Don't get me wrong. But,
well, Ben Edlund has never given up control of this baby of his, right? And that's the key, right? Like no matter what he's making these decisions.
He's always gone back to it. He was involved in the animated series. Well, of course, the comic, the animated series, then the Fox series, and then he came back for this series as well, which he's writing and producing.
Ben Edlund is the best television writer alive right now. Period. Everything he goes to gets better. How many guys have classic episodes? He's, Stephen Moffat had those classic episodes with Doctor Who. Edlund's had them with 5 or 6 different series.
Yeah.
Across genres, across time. And this is a kid who was drawing a dumb little character on a comic book shop's newsletter. That's what the Tick was. He was just New England Comics newsletter.
And, the thing is that's so great about this too, is that the people he's worked with kind of get, inspired by his muse and go off and they create their own really good stuff. Like from the animated Tick series, we got Doc Hammer and Jackson Public, and they went off to create the Venture Brothers, who Ben Edlund has come in and written a couple of episodes of the Venture Brothers and done some really good work on that as well. And that's still kicking around. We've got a season 7 coming up.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. November, as a matter of fact, we got that coming up.
The best thing about the Tick is it's like superhero parodies are easy. That's low hanging fruit, actually. But only the Tick has been able to get away with it with love. It's like, we still love superheroes. We're not, putting you down. It's like 60s Batman, but better. It's an homage parody. And really quick here, Overkill is becoming like my favorite superhero. Period. Like
the Terror
tonight. I'm like, I think Overkill's my favorite superhero now.
No, like, dude, the Terror, has become my favorite character. I mean, just out and out. I know you haven't seen episode 8 yet, but when you see episode 8, it's hilarious. But even episode 7, when he's on the drums talking about how he set everyone up, and he's just explaining it to Miss Lint. And I'm just going, man, this is actually genius. And Jackie Earle Haley plays him just so well. And, shut the fuck up, Alexa.
I think it's hilarious that both you guys who have been like lifelong comic book fans are like, hey, there's this character on the Tick on Amazon Prime that's the best superhero character ever.
He really is. I mean,
the Terror is the funniest villain. But as far as just like taking Batman, turning him up to like 15, but making him a Boy Scout at the same time. Like he's a vengeful Boy Scout. That's what Overkill is. Just like, I'm not good at comforting people. He's probably dead. And it pretty much came out like that who he is. He was the lone survivor of the Flag 5, the Flag fuck ups as the Terror.
Yeah, that just, I mean, again, Jackie Earle Haley, man. And the thing is, he's terrifying at the same time. He can go from funny to just, not irreverent to terrifying, all within this, span of a couple of seconds.
So Jackie Earle Haley is one of the better actors in Hollywood, and he's gotten so many delicious roles. Who knew that the kid from Bad News Bears would do, like, for one, play an epic Rorschach, and I don't care what people think of the movie. I thought his performance as Rorschach and Watchmen was right up there with Heath Ledger's Joker. It was so fucking good. He was so fucking good in that. Jeffrey Dean Morgan too. But his performance in Preacher, Preacher season 2 missed him completely.
I did.
Oh my. So yeah, he is just delicious as the Terror. And this is the, this wasn't like the funniest episode, but I was just so happy to have it back. And I can't wait. Like once we're done here, I'm going to just stay up late and watch the rest. I don't care. And we are going to be doing full on spoiler podcasts for it tomorrow night. 8ish, something like that, 7 or 8ish. We'll put it up on the website.
Have you guys watched The Good Place?
No, what's The Good Place?
So The Good Place is a comedy that everyone's
Kristen
been
Bell.
talking about lately. Yeah, and Drew Goddard directed a couple episodes of it with Kristen Bell and Ted Danson. And like for a while, I've had everyone. I wanted to ask you guys like Tick versus Good Place because that seems to be like, The Good Place seems to be the comedy that like people I know that like similar things are saying like this is like the best comedy in a really long time. Like
The Good Place is really well written, and it does have some good twists to it.
Yeah.
So the first season, I binged through the first season fairly quickly. The second season, I kind of stopped.
Interesting, because that's where everyone says it's getting better, and I haven't watched it yet. But I was just kind of wondering, like, for you, Dennis, like you're loving The Tick, like, how do you they compare to you? Like, is The Tick just its own beast?
Oh, it's its own beast. I mean, you can tell it's Ben Edlund's baby. He's thought about this thing over and over and over again. He knows what he wants out of this. The Good Place is something different. It's an NBC sitcom, but it's a little above average of an NBC sitcom. And it's got a little bit of the Drew Goddard stuff in there to give it the twist, but it's nowhere near The Tick level.
Gotcha. Yeah, Jody and Viking B are like, The Good Place is awesome, and Isaiah's like, it's a little overrated. But I've just been hearing so much about both of these as like, genre bending comedies that everyone should be watching, and so I was curious how they kind of lined up.
Yeah, the swearing, like for one thing, Jody just said, "What the fork?"
What the fork?
In The Good Place, you can't swear, so instead of the F word, it says fork.
Yeah.
Kristen Bell does it all the time. She goes, "What the fork?"
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's actually gets to be kind of funny after a little while.
You shirt head.
Yeah.
Shirt
exactly.
Head. But like, I don't think The Good Place can have an artificial intelligent boat that just became self-aware and then identify as a gay man or as a man that
like Hitchhiker's Guide. That's
as a male, as a homosexual male,
as a homosexual
like a mailbox. Yeah, I'm sorry. That just made me laugh so hard, man. I had to stop. I had to pause it. Like a mailbox.
Very Hitchhiker, and that's why I like Ben Edlund. His humor is probably the closest thing to Douglas Adams I've seen since Douglas Adams. Oh God, that was such a funny scene. And then the doctor being shrunken and then punching him in the balls when he leaves. I'm sorry, boom.
Yeah.
Oh God damn, that show's funny. So if nobody's watched The Tick, stop watching us. Go watch The Tick, please. And then come back and watch us. And if we also recapped every individual episode, the first half of the first season, and you can find it on our channel under our Tick playlist if you want to go check those out. I think 100 of our hardcore Tick fans watched each episode, and we do appreciate that. We do.
Yeah.
But it was only like 100. So the terror's playing everybody apparently, and Arthur escapes from the clutches of the terror.
Well, does he escape,
or is it planned?
Yes.
Da, da, da.
I'm gonna go back. Cisa May's Good Place is actually a show on NBC. They're in the middle of the second season, or actually, the middle of the second season right now. So you can watch that on NBC.com, Hulu, all that kind of stuff.
So Hulu only has the last 5 episodes, which is really frustrating because I was going to go watch it because everyone was talking about it, and I went on and only had the last 5. So like I bought
your answer with Hulu.
Amazon to see.
That's why Hulu can't catch on. Right there, it's like just the last 5 episodes. Like that answers your question.
So I went to Amazon and bought the first one to see if I liked it, and then I want to figure out where it is.
Darth Barbecue says it's on Netflix, though. He thinks so.
He says he thinks. I think I trust him, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I wish that were more a definitive statement, Darth.
I think I remember that being on there too. It might have gone off as of this month, though. So who knows?
You guys can tell me about it. I only have time to watch the stuff we cover.
Yeah,
that's all I.
I don't even have time to watch all of that anymore.
Yeah. So on to other stuff that's coming out. for our anime fans out there, Avatar: The Last Airbender is getting released on May 1st on Blu-ray, the entire complete series. So I know a lot of our anime fans out there are jazzed about that.
I'll be buying that. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Love that show. Fucking great show.
Yeah, so it's the first time they've done it, which is huge, absolutely huge. And I predict it's going to be a major seller when it comes out.
They need to find a way to I know the story ended, but I don't know. The book core was good. It was good, but it was no Avatar.
Yeah, okay.
And
the movie was terrible.
Yeah, I worked on it at Technicolor.
Oof.
Yeah, no thanks.
But it had a twist, didn't it?
It did. It wasn't good. No.
Dead people.
Yeah, these dead people there. Yeah.
They're actually, living in the far future, but they live as Amish. No, never mind.
Yeah.
And only the blind people can see. We got another teaser trailer for Legion Season 2, which is coming out on April 3rd, with Aubrey Plaza as the good doctor. And one of our theories might be playing out here that everything is happening in his head.
Let me guess, it's all just a dream or some other pretentious nonsense.
No, that all the people that he kind of like in the comic that
recreates them.
Yeah, he's created them. And that's what this could be, which would be an interesting take on this season. It would really screw with a lot of people's minds. But and for those of you that are watching Mr. Robot and came in like Johnny Pappas just who left, by the way. See you, Johnny. I know you took off already, but
bye, Johnny.
For those of you who joined us for Mr. Robot, definitely go and check out Legion. Legion is just in the same amount of weirdness as Mr. Robot.
It is true.
Absolutely. No, it's the superhero Mr. Robot, and it's brilliant. Oh my God, it's so good to rewatch it too. It's very rewatchable. You miss a lot of stuff, and it's artistically pretty too. And good music, great directing. I can't say enough about that show. I cannot wait. Aubrey Plaza is going to be missed. She was so brilliant, but that trailer was great. That was a great teaser. One of the better teasers I've seen. And now one way this could, just to get way far ahead in crazy speculation land, if it turns out to be all in his head, I won't be pissed if it turns out it's like some kind of psychic war he's having with Charles Xavier. Like they're just like sitting in chairs looking at each other. Or if they pull back and do that, that'd be awesome.
Or maybe like he's the first superhero in the Marvel universe and he creates superheroes and manifests them into the world, something of that nature.
Hey, that's how mutants come into being.
Yeah, I can see them going some of those directions.
He's pretty powerful in the comics.
His
power in the comics is insane.
Is a legion of superheroes in it.
Yeah, but you notice how Marvel likes to do that, with Sentry and stuff. When they become too powerful, they become their own worst enemy.
They have to be crazy and go into long periods of like amnesia or slumber or comas.
Yeah. Well, the creator of the show said this is a villain origin story. Mm-hmm. So I think that's interesting.
I think it's interesting too.
Jody says, Dennis, I thought they were going for more external conflict for Legion this season because they said season 1 was more internal. Well, actually, this season's supposed to start off a year. It skips a year. That's how we start off in season 2. And so there is going to be a little more external just because it's going to find out what happened during that year that he's missed.
Yeah, I also think that that's a like hint at the fact that like if it's all in his head now, it will be manifest at some point. I think that that's probably where they're going. Although I thought that it wasn't Shadow Man as the bad guy in the first season because like I thought that was like the visual didn't seem to match up with the comic for me. Like at first, the yellow, but it was it looked more like Mojo.
It looked like Mojo. Who they could totally still bring in.
Yeah, they hired the guy from Wonder Woman to play the Shadow King, and then he had to skip out to do Wonder Woman 2, so they recast his character, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wonder how that'll go.
That's a weird decision to make.
Yeah.
Because I think he would. I guess his role wasn't that big in the TV series. Because his role wasn't that big in Wonder Woman, and probably won't be. And how is he still alive? Whatever.
Yeah, considering that it's taking place in the 80s.
Yeah, that's weird.
I don't understand.
So, no, I think that's it must not have been a big part, because I think you'd rather be part of a TV show unless Fox is going to cancel it or something because of the whole Disney deal. Who knows? I'm just going to enjoy it while it lasts. Because I think this is the year of the show. Like the show kind of went under the radar. A lot of comic fans, a lot of other live streams I watch where we discuss this stuff, like people don't bring it up. And when somebody does, it's like one guy going or girl going, "Hey, that was great. Did you watch it?" And everybody's all, no. And that's the one thing I'm like really surprised about especially on a lot of comic book live streams, is I think people like to come and talk about the stuff, and a lot of people just don't watch it or don't read the comics because it gets thrown out there a lot on this one live stream I watch. It's like, "Hey, did you read that latest Batman?" No, I haven't read Batman in 3 years. Here. I like to hear you talk about Batman. I don't want to read it though.
Right.
It's like, God, that's the story of comics right there.
I thought we were talking about the essence of Batman, not like actually what's happening with
stuff that he's doing. Right. So I think a lot of people wanted to get around to that show. I mean, the ratings still, I don't know. It's weird how cable ratings, that show looks really expensive and it gets like 2 million viewers, and that's considered good.
Yeah. The thing about Legion is always going to be how specific it is. Like it's not a broad show, and it's good. It's really good in the specific niche, but like, I don't think you're going to get a lot of like kind of crossover appeal from that show. So it's going to need its hardcore people to really evangelize. God, I can't say the word. Evangelize. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You got it,
something like that. But I know everyone, the hardcore people are going to have to really drive it and make sure that it doesn't go away, because it's worth, because it's worth it. It's worth having around. Even if it does, like a company like Fox or Disney can eat a little bit of profit in one place and, get it back in another. And that's usually how they operate, is like, okay, well, we're keeping enough of these types of fans happy over here that it's worth losing a little bit of money on it, because we have this reality show that makes us tons of money and is nothing to produce over here.
Yeah, and well, that's just a thing I will never get, but that's I love Legion. I would much rather watch Legion than a 911 or anything on network television. I can't even watch network television. I'm so ruined for it now. You watch a Mr. Robot and a Legion and a Daredevil and an Expanse and a Westworld, and it's like I can't go back and like we review the X-Files, and I have a hard time with it. And it's a show I love, but you're like, God, it's so dated now. It's like, oof,
Kay Sizzle actually says American Gods is greater than Legion, and I disagree with that.
No, I think that's probably right.
I think that's true. But not for long.
We'll see.
The first season was better, but the second season won't be. Because Brian Fuller, not the biggest fan of that guy, and he had me and John turned around. He really did. We were both skeptical. We were both like, I don't know about this dude. Some of his stuff is good. It's all right, and we came out of American Gods going, holy shit, that was
amazing. Yeah, and that is I think a similarity in the two shows, is this weird, slow, inconsistent start that's rolling that makes sense later, but is tough to like navigate, and then all of a sudden like they both go full force with what the show's going to be, and then you're like, okay, I get it now, but that was a rough couple of weeks when I didn't get it, and now I'm all for it.
That kind of reminds me, there's a great book, Umberto Eco's The Name of the Rose, which was made into a movie, of course. The first 100 pages are a slog to get through.
Yeah.
Just an absolute slog to get through. And then the story picks up after that, after 100 pages. So you're like, okay, you have to really kind of go through that first 100 pages and suffer through it. And I read an interview with Umberto Eco years later after I'd read it. And he said, he wrote that purposely like that, because it's supposed to be like doing penance as a monk, where you have to suffer through the first 100 pages as penance to get to the story. And I'm like, son of a, that's actually a pretty good writing technique, but at the same time, what the hell?
Yeah, your book, I'm sure the publisher was really happy about that.
Yeah, for 1 out of 10 people who get past the punishment portion of the book.
That was a movie with
Sean Connery.
Sean Connery, yes. Yes. It was a
very
good
young Christian Slater.
Very young Christian Slater.
Yes. And Ron Perlman. Ron Perlman played the deformed monk, remember?
Yep. Yes.
With the rats.
I have to go back and watch it. I enjoyed the hell out of that movie.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
Yeah.
Very good movie. Speaking of good movies, we had a really good trailer, or a teaser trailer anyway, for Lost in Space coming up on Netflix on April 13th.
The aforementioned Netflix.
Yes.
I guess John, did you make it through Altered Carbon?
Nope.
I enjoyed the crap out of Altered Carbon. It's got some flaws. I watched it again, and it's definitely got some flaws, but for the most part, really damn good show. And again, Netflix trying to do something like really, for one, a pretty looking show. That show looked good. That puts things to shame how good that show looked. So this is going to be rad. I loved Lost in Space. Okay. Loved that show. And if done right and with, making it a little probably darker and more adult, for Netflix, I think they could have a lot of fun, and it could really kind of stick it to Star Trek, Lost in Space, didn't it not run longer than the original Star Trek series? I could be wrong about that.
3 seasons, I believe.
3. So they both ran 3 seasons.
Yeah.
But Star Trek.
I just want to say to Ghost World, dude, you didn't finish Altered Carbon. The last 3 episodes is what makes up the bulk of the show. Watch it.
He's got.
Jeez.
Finish it out.
Don't yell at the people. Okay?
I'm not yelling at them. I'm just telling them. I'm telling them to finish it out. Tough it out, man.
Hey, get to it when you can. We understand. Yeah. I understand you have a life. Dennis doesn't, but I do.
I don't.
Spend your time with.
I like you better than Dennis does. Spend your time with your counterpart.
I like counterpart, but that was the thing, is they both kind of came about onto my plate at the same time, and I watched the first episode of both and was like, I'm gonna watch this one, and so I spent my energy on Counterpart instead, which I'm really digging.
No, it's amazing. That is amazing, which we will talk about. That's another one that's doing well for us, but it's it takes 2 or 3 weeks for people to catch up to our recaps, which is fine. I have no problem with that. Love people hitting the back catalog, but that show is so much fun. But Lost in Space, man, it comes out April 13th. So April is looking brilliant so far.
Yeah. April's going to be busy for us. I mean, we've got already Legion season 2. We've got Lost in Space. We've got a little show coming up that's starting this weekend that runs into April called Ash versus Evil Dead.
Got The Expanse.
I'm getting a little emotional thinking about that right now. I am so fucking happy.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. It really is going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, and then there's another show. There's Westworld. Can't forget Westworld.
Yes.
and then the fucking Expanse announces their release date, dude. April's gonna be a very busy month for us. So the day job might suffer a little bit, but
and yes, Ghost World, The Expanse does come back April 15th. We just had the little teaser trailer for that as well that got released today. And by the way, David Schmeiden, I just want to tell you that question that you asked about where did Gary buy his frames? They're Ray-Ban frames.
They are, yes, they are Ray-Ban sunglasses frames. They're collapsible. See, fun stuff like that. But the thing is, they're big, and I'm really happy that big glasses came back, because I used to wear these little thin ones, and I had no peripheral vision, and I always bumped into crap and stepped on things. Legos. God, I'm glad my kids are too old for Legos. I hate those goddamn
No one's
things.
too old for Legos. For shame.
Dude, yeah, you step on a few Legos in the middle of the night with bare feet, and you, freaking a-holes. I want to go burn down Legoland. No, I love Legoland. It's a fun place.
Are they paying you off again?
I'm a shill.
Legoland people.
I'm a shill.
Shill to Legoland.
I want to see the comments. Hang on, and get them on my phone.
So also, that's going to run into April, starting in March 21st, Krypton. And we get our first look at Brainiac. That looked on the Sci-Fi Channel. Yeah, didn't it?
That looked dope.
Yeah, I was looking at that going, damn, they did a great job with that.
I don't want to like this show. It's another effing prequel.
It's Goyer.
and it's Goyer. It's freaking Goyer. But then I see the trailer and I see Brainiac. I'm like, did you see the ship? The
skull ship. I was like,
bigger. They didn't go smaller. They went bigger.
Yeah.
I'm like, Christ.
Keep in mind, though, that Goyer, the reason we don't like Goyer, and I'm going to speak for us all, is he teases us with this awesome stuff and then just stomps on it. Like, that's my problem with Goyer. So I'm still scared as hell, even though it looks so good.
He dangles. You like this little thing right here? I'm going to light it on fire.
Yeah, then he lights it on fire.
Also, the reason I don't like him is Blade 3. Wesley Snipes gets all the crap for Blade 3, but he had a producer credit, and it was Goyer. Goyer talks behind people's back, talks shit about his star, and him and Wesley Snipes did not hit it off. So Goyer played the politics game with him, got all the other actors to kind of ostracize him. Now remember, Wesley Snipes was his freaking boss, so he went around to above his head. And that's when Wesley Snipes refused to come out of the trailer. And that's when they started shooting scenes with Wesley Snipes' stuntman, which you can't do, by the way. So, and actually Wesley Snipes got a lot of money from, was it New Line who put that out? I think it was New Line. Sued the crap out of them. And by the way, New Line, crookedest movie company there is ever. And they're part of WB. But they do nasty stuff.
That's who's heading up the WB superhero line right now, is the head guy from New Line.
Head guy New Line. One of our friends got a script stolen from a music supervisor. That's what he was. Little movie called Frequency was written by a mutual friend of ours. I don't know if he's gonna like me saying that, so I won't say his name. But he wrote the script and won the lawsuit and got himself hasn't had to work a lot. He lives a good life now. Yeah, he lives a good life. But yeah, that's New Line Cinema right there for you.
And speaking of, well, actually it wasn't WB, but anyway, remember last episode we were talking about the Solo trailer and how it looked really kind of familiar, almost kind of like J.J. Abrams' Star Trek first trailer. And the only thing that was missing was the Beastie Boys Sabotage soundtrack. I think someone heard me out there.
Oh, dude, I told you. I saw a ton of people saying that.
Yeah. And someone recut the trailer.
Dennis was first, guys. Dennis was first. Everybody. Yeah. Dennis was first. Dennis shot first.
We're right here on the Nerdrotic podcast.
That's right. I got it timestamped.
Don't crush our dreams, John.
Someone actually went through and recut the trailer and added Beastie Boys Sabotage, set to Beastie Boys Sabotage, and it works perfectly.
It works perfectly. Yeah, it's the same damn trailer. It really is. Once you told me, and I went back and watched them, and then I went back and watched it, and then when I was researching it, I saw that somebody had already put them side to side, and they're like damn near cut for cut.
Yeah,
That's how much thought has been put into Star Wars. All right, I want you to think about it. Like Disney. I know we've talked about this a million times, but Disney paid what, $6 billion for this. And they just went, okay, we got Star Wars now. Get the guy who did Star Trek. They both have Star in the name, right?
Yeah.
Okay, get him over here and just do the same shit. Okay, go.
Well, more than likely, they said they probably went to the trailer house and said, "Hey, we want a trailer that's exciting, like one of these," and gave them a couple. And then the trailer house was just really sloppy and like replicating it shot for shot.
That's exactly what happened. They approve it when it comes back from the trailer house. They say yes or no, because remember they hire like 4 trailer houses and they have them compete against each other, and whoever cuts the best one, or they do it within one trailer house. They go, here's 4 people, cut 4 different versions of the trailer, and best one wins. And our friend Chris does that stuff. I don't know. Has anybody seen Chris lately?
I haven't. I haven't.
Hi, Chris. If you're still out there, man.
I just Facebook stalk him. I'll be back. I'm gonna go die for a minute. I'll be right back.
Okay, go die.
Yeah, I'll be
yourself. Jeez.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny actually. There was some news, an interview that came out today with J.J. Abrams, talking about Star Trek Episode 9 and how this one's different now because this time he has a script.
Well, yeah, I love how everybody was talking about Lawrence Kasdan's coming back to do what? He didn't write a script.
No,
Yeah,
his son's the one that's writing the script.
I promise. Well, you know what? His son, his son did Jumanji. His son directed Jumanji.
Okay.
So, that was pretty good. Actually, very good. Jumanji was better than Star Wars. I don't even want to see episode 9. Do you? I mean, I'm not even to cover it for this channel. I have no desire to. I'm done. I'm done with Star Wars. I don't want to see Solo. I don't want to see freaking episode 9. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done with Star Wars as well. I mean, pretty much once Rebels is over with, I'm like,
I don't even want to watch freaking Rebels now. I'm like, I'm so bent what they did to Luke that I'm done. Because like Rebels is the one good thing, and I couldn't bring myself to watch it. I'm like, it'll just remind me that Luke was stupid, and then who wants to go see Solo? It's like this guy grows up to get killed by his son in a really crappy way.
Mm-hmm. After he neglects his
son. After he's a bad father. Well,
go live with your uncle who's going to go kill you in your sleep.
Yeah, right. I know I've said it before, but if you're first time to this podcast, like go back and watch Harrison Ford revisiting all his properties, and it's just him being a bad father. Mm-hmm. Even Blade Runner, he was the better father in Blade Runner because he just didn't know, but he suspected.
He started this in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, and he's just been continuing doing it.
Yep.
Jody says, yes, Gary, use your aggressive feelings. Strike Star Wars down in anger, and your journey to the dark side will be complete.
My journey to the dark side was complete a long time ago, Jody.
It was. Yeah.
I gave into my anger.
We also found out news that the new Star Wars TV series, speaking of Star Wars, is going to be called Rebellion.
Wow. I wonder if they hired like focus groups for that. I'll go, okay, guys, I got it, man. Rebellion. Genius. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, I know.
That's really thinking out of the box there. Oh God. Yeah, it's just sad. It's just sad. I don't know why nobody's made maybe that just people don't care anymore. But when Kathleen came out and essentially, or was it J.J. Abrams? No, it was Rian Johnson who came out and said that they don't have a plan for Star Wars. They never did.
Yeah.
Like that didn't like make headlines everywhere, but that's where the entertainment media is. That this is why you smart folks come to YouTube and listen to people like us, because the entertainment media has just for the last 3-4 years, they've always been like this, but not as bad. Okay. They're public relations wings for Disney now. Like even in the comic book press, Marvel never used to get love. People pretty much hated Marvel, okay, except for the fans. The fans loved Marvel. Comic shops hated them. The entertainment, the comic shop press hated them. And all of a sudden now everybody loves freaking Marvel. And for one, that's weird. And yeah, I've just never seen them defend Disney so much. Disney does employ a lot of people, but that's being too powerful. And just the whole thing with when J.J. Abrams came out and said, if you didn't like Star Wars, you were intimidated by women. We brought it up last podcast. Yeah. Which I mean, dude, he was doing fine until he said that. Like people were actually happy he was back. They're like, cool. At least we'll get something like The Force Awakens, because like I said, and a lot of people think this, I'm sure, is that Last Jedi makes Force Awakens look like a passable movie. So
what I want J.J. Abrams to do is to try and explain away all the crap that happened in The Last Jedi for the last movie. Just basically, so kind of like Force Awakens was explained away in The Last Jedi. I want The Last Jedi to be explained away in whatever episode 9 is going to be.
Oh, he's going to go after Rian Johnson's mom in that one. Like straight up, he's going to do a mom joke. No, 2 words for you. Okay, if you've been following J.J. Abrams' career since the beginning, I got 2 words how he's going to explain everything.
Time travel.
Red matter. Red matter. There you go.
Hey, Dante, by the way, no one knows if Rebellion's a cartoon or a live-action TV series or what it is. They just named it because, as Ghost World says, Star Wars Revolt? No, that's not good. Star Wars Rebellion. That's great.
Could we call it Rebels'? Oh, no. Rebellion. Okay, there we go. Oh, God.
And yeah, Cece Mays is right. Star Wars is dead.
It's dead. I just like did they go to did they just try to find different words the thesaurus for rebellion, like Star Wars contrarian,
Star Wars insurrection, as God said.
Star Wars 15-year-old girl. Sorry, just kidding. Yeah,
Star Wars. This time we really do blow up the newest Death Star planet thingy.
It's not. You're right, Ghost World. It is not for us. You're right. Yeah. It is for something else. It is for oh God, I don't want to but I'm gonna. Sorry. It's for the pop crowd. You know, the Marvel, the people like the pop vinyls. It's the, you know, and just like the pop vinyls. It's okay to like the pop vinyls and read comic books, but if you're just like, it's, you know, it's like the Beanie Babies of comics. Okay. Yeah, it's for that. It's you know, and that's fine. They can have stuff too. They can have Star Wars. It's all yours. I'm out. You can have it.
Excuse me. Matt says zombies are coming. Your friend Matt's here, and CDC employee went missing after having left early, not feeling well. Yes, he's been missing for almost a week now, and he left his home, no keys, no wallet, left his dog there, all this stuff, and he had gone home early after not feeling well. No one's seen him.
I'm not going to say it was aliens.
But it was aliens.
Yeah, it's did you ever remember when they found that zombie ant? It was or when I found out about it. I don't know when they found it, but it was 2005, 2006. We talked about this in the comic shop. And they found that ant down in the Amazon that it's a zombie ant basically. So once something becomes real in nature, then it becomes possible. So I used to tell my kids, you know, because zombies used to really scare Logan. Okay, so I told him it's like that is the scientifically most impossible thing out of all the monsters. Like you could actually have like a werewolf before you could have a zombie. Okay, because you can't reanimate dead tissue no matter what. But that's wrong now. So, and plus there's rabies. That's kind of a zombie anyway if you let it go bad.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's awful news. But again, is it weird that I'm strangely excited about that? Because I've been playing, you know, okay. Have I told? Dennis knows this story, but I'm going to tell you guys, and you guys probably know it too. Everything I buy and everything I do, I always use the what if the zombie apocalypse happens? Now, no, San Francisco is not the best place to be. Okay, I'm enclosed by water, but you know, when I buy a car, I make damn sure I always buy a big 4x4 because what if the zombie apocalypse happens? You know, and yes, we do have like this stash of food in a shed. We're semi-apocalyptic ready here in this house. I'm just not totally paranoid, but enough. And plus, it's San Francisco. We could have a 9.0 like during this podcast. So yeah. But it's a zombie apocalypse. World War Z. Yeah, no fast zombies though. Are they fast in World War Z?
In World War Z, the book, no, they weren't. In the movie, they were this weird amalgam. They turned into like a tidal wave of zombie bodies. It was really weird.
There you go, Ghost World. Jeep Wrangler. Yes, you need to have something that can drive over bodies, basically. There you go. Right
until you get stuck on the freeway, then you're going to see those little motorcycles going right in between you. Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Yes, I'm a doomsday prepper, just like in Tremors. Okay. There's something very likable about that couple in Tremors. Okay. I know they were supposed to be a parody, but they were actually the best damn thing. Well, no, the second best thing in that movie, which is one of my all-time favorite movies.
So speaking of some of your all-time favorite stuff, Joss Whedon has announced that he is going to be doing a Buffy season 12 comic book for Dark Horse, and it's coming out on July 20th.
He needs something to do, considering the news, recent news that he quit Batgirl.
Yeah.
Viking bitch said we should say we told you so, but are we above that? Aren't we above that? No, I'm not either. We fucking told you so. And this was months and months and months ago.
When it first happened, because he announced this March of last year, and we were like, yeah, he's going to drop off of that.
Yeah. And then the the thing happened with his ex-wife, and John and I talked about it, and then you and I talked about it in the following podcast, and we said the same thing. Like, there's no way he's going to stay with it. We actually had commenters saying we're wrong. No, we could see it a mile away. I think DC was waiting for the dust to settle to ask him to quit. And and then he tried to be all cute and Joss Whedon about it. Like, is there a nice way to say you failed? He. No. His motivation behind this was to stick it to Marvel, period.
Yeah.
And, it's, I don't know what to believe, because you said there was a tweet that went up today.
Yeah, there was a tweet that went up, and I can't remember her name, but she said it wasn't the when it said, Joss Whedon had left the Batgirl movie, and she said not the worst thing that could happen to the DCEU, and it was liked by both Zack Snyder and one of his producers.
Yeah, so I've heard Joss and Zach were friends, but apparently that is not the case. It wasn't Zack Snyder who asked Joss Whedon to come on and help him out, which WB originally spun. It was they canned his ass, and they canned his ass. That John is done for the evening, by the way. He is not feeling very good. So good night, John. Sorry you missed the Joss Whedon stuff. Feel better. So they canned his ass, like I said 3 times, and hired Joss Whedon and thought he could fix it. He made it worse. I actually want to see Zack Snyder's movie. I do.
Well, no one knows if that actually exists or not either.
No, but I'm just saying I want to see it. I have a great desire to see that movie. And now that we know this, that tweet is very telling. John, if you could hear the Viking bitch and Cecil Mays both say feel better. That screw WP. Like, I just hope the DCEU crashes and burns, and hopefully we get some new. This Walter Hamada is not going to save it. Okay, I'm sorry. The moves they made already are really not confident moves. They're like, oh, we're going to kind of do this, and they want to give Batgirl a female director, but I think it's getting shelved. Nightwing got shelved, by the way, too.
Actually, no, it was kind of funny. On Twitter, there was a female writer, I can't remember her name, who's written for movies. She said, hey, I'm available. I want to write a Batgirl movie. And then one of the DCEU WB people said, are you serious? If you are, email me. So,
well, I think that's PR. That's Twitter BS. Twitter's a big. I don't know how much time you spend on there. It's such a crap show. But with the Nightwing movie, the director backed out, so it's done.
No, he hasn't. No,
yeah, he has. That got announced today.
No, Chris McKay even came on Twitter and he said they're not
today. Because I heard this morning that it's done.
No, that was a rumor, and he said I'm not. He came on Twitter and said I'm not leaving until they fire me.
Okay,
so that's the only way I'm leaving is if they fire me.
So though, okay, well, they're probably going to fire him then, because I heard today that it got shelved. No, it got shelved. It got shelved. They're putting everything off right now, and they're going to see how Wonder Woman does. All their focus is on Wonder Woman 2, and they're going to go ahead with this Joker thing. But they closed down their studio. They had their whole own studio. They've closed that down, and they're in the process of bringing everything into Warner Brothers. And so, and also a little birdie told me that Hamada might just be interim. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. Well, he's a placeholder, obviously.
Yeah.
You can totally tell he's a placeholder.
Gail Simone did Gail Simone did do a very good job on Birds of Prey. Her writing of late has not been great, except for her Wonder Woman and Conan was actually exceptionally very good. Very, very good. Hey, and that's something you Patreons, your patrons are going to see. I also have a lot of footage of her being interviewed. I'm going to throw that on Patreon. Patreon's going to get a lot of the old comics post video that never saw the light of day. Wanted to plug that real quick, and we'll put a little snippet on the Nerdrotic channel too for the subs to see. So the DC universe is it's a mess as usual, and Joss Whedon I think if you're a Joss Whedon fan, I think actually a lot of good is going to come from this, Dennis, because what's the only thing he's got to go back to? I mean, he just went back to the comic. There's 2 properties he could go back to and still be very successful and
Firefly
very fan friendly.
And Buffy.
And if you could pull off a Star Trek with this and get the Buffy cast together, make some explanation why the vampires age, and do a Buffy movie, and it would do very well. It would do very. I'd be there. I'd be stoked to see that. But as far as like all the harsh judgment on Joss Whedon, he was a cheater. He used his power he slept with a lot of actresses, and that's pretty much every producer and director in Hollywood. So,
and by the way, I just checked. No mention whatsoever of McKay's movie being shelved.
It was a comic book cast who talked about it today.
Then yeah, that's rumor then, because everyone else isn't mentioning that at all. I was just looking at it when I was going through, so I'm pretty sure that was rumor.
Okay, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, in the next couple of days,
Cast 2 usually comes out. That guy's pretty freaking solid with information, so I will tend to believe him until he's wrong. And if he's wrong, he's wrong. But I wouldn't think anything from DC is a sure thing except for Wonder Woman right now.
Oh yeah,
and not even this Joker movie. I wouldn't. The one thing Warner Brothers has come out and said explicitly, because of you could blame it for this. It was made for it was cheap. It was a cheap movie, and they want everything to be cheap. And that's why they brought Hamada in, because they want to kind of stop the bleeding a little bit right now. So you're going to see a lot of low budget superhero movies, and those aren't going to fly. They're just not going to fly. Literally. So we'll see. Hey, you had Matthew Vaughn out there asking to do a Superman movie.
Yeah.
And they're not doing it.
Oh, I know.
So that's
And yeah, David Schmeiden, and I agree with David Schmeiden on this. He says Buffy is done, but Firefly is sitting there with engines running and crew standing by. Yeah, but you know what? Nathan Fillion has a new TV show that he's already signed up for. So I honestly, yes, Joss Whedon has these 2 properties, but the Buffy cast has already said that they don't want to return to it. The Firefly cast has already said, you know what, it's already too far out for them as well to return. So I think he just needs to start something fresh.
In that entertainment weekly little get together they had, they said, some of them said they were down for a movie. They definitely said it was Joss Whedon who said he wasn't down to go back. So we'll see. I don't think they're done. In about 10 years, they will be. I think it'd be fun to return back. I don't know about a movie though. Maybe it'd be better fit for like a TV miniseries or maxi series or something like that. Serenity could definitely go on. Oh my God. They could restart that from scratch, even minus, the 2 characters who died, but, they could go on with who they have right now, and it would be a monster hit. It would. I think it would do very well. That would probably not a movie though. I think again, bring it back to sci. I don't know why it never went to sci-fi. Oh yeah, because sci-fi didn't have their crap together at the time. If it was the sci-fi of today, it would have taken on Firefly. But it's a lot like The Expanse right now. The Expanse, they're very similar. So
Jody says, what about Dr. Horrible?
Dr. Horrible's cute. I would watch another one, but it's not something that could, but for a laugh, loved it.
Yeah. So our other big news that we had that came out today was about Diamond Distributors.
Yeah, this is weird.
So Diamond Distributors is getting ready to, they're set to release a new online service called Poolbox. So what this is Poolbox is going to work with your local comic distributor you go online and you can set up what's going to be in your pull list. And it sounds great in theory, but then I started thinking about this. I'm like, well, what's so different from ordering straight from Diamond then? What's to prevent Diamond from just saying, hey, you know what? We have access to all these pull lists, and all we need to do is cut out the middleman, i.e. one of the middlemen, i.e. the comic book store, and just sell directly to the customer at full price instead of having to, sell at the comic book store at discounted prices.
There's two things going on here. For one, I don't know why Diamond is starting. I have to read more information on this because this sounds really counterproductive. It sounds like Diamond wants access to stores' subscriptions info, which they've wanted for years and years and years. I offered it up. I wouldn't give them like last names, but I would tell them I would be more than happy to give a first name and titles that the person collected. I wouldn't give them gender or anything other than that. You get a first name and the titles. And I offered it up and they wouldn't take it at the time, but they were asking us like, is that something you'd be interested in? It's like, it depends. I'm not going to give my customers information away, but if you wanted to get data to track actual sales, because that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to see what is actually selling. It also might be a power play because the big two might be thinking of pulling out with them and starting to distribute on their own or something like. I know Marvel wanted to do that. When Disney bought them, one of their I heard it from the CEO of D23 told me we'd love to get rid of Diamond. Man told me himself. I was doing a little film project with a friend of mine there who I was doing the lighting. I was tagging along. I was a fly on the wall. It was pretty awesome. But they can't because Diamond's entrenched. They're the only ones willing to do it. They're the accidental monopoly. They don't even want to be a monopoly. They would love to have competition, but nobody wants to do it. Nobody wants to distribute comics. This is a way. Yeah, man. This puts you in direct opposition to the people who are your partners, your business partners, and your customers. Oh, Diamond. You silly people. This is the act of a monopoly.
Yeah.
I mean, Baker and Taylor, if they wanted to take over right now, they could. They just don't want to deliver books on what was the deal? Oh, Baker and Taylor didn't want to do it on a different day. You would have to change New Comic Book Day. I think that was their whole deal because they deliver stuff on new release for books and stuff is Tuesday. At least it was when I was retailing. I don't know if it is anymore. So you get your shipments on Monday. So you'd have to change New Comic Book Day to Tuesday, which I don't think would be very hard.
No, I don't think it would be either. And quite honestly, most of your comic book stores are closed on Mondays because Mondays being the slowest days. I would actually say that would be a good fit because you get your comic books in Monday. That gives you time to actually prep them and stuff like that, and just open up on Tuesday with your new comic books.
Yeah, because although the perception is Monday is your closest slowest day, but it's not. If you're actually open on Monday, you will find that Tuesday is your slowest day by far. Thursday is a notoriously slow retail day as well. It was when I was doing working at the record store. It was our worst day for the Comic Outpost in 10 years. When we were open, I think we tried closing Mondays for a little while because my wife owns a salon. All salons close on Monday, and then my wife started opening on every day. And I had decided to open every day, and Tuesday was the slowest day. So I think moving New Book Day to Tuesday would help make Wednesday suffer a little bit. But that's weird, Dennis. What do you think? What is your opinion? What is behind this?
Like I said, I think they're moving towards trying to cut out the brick and mortar comic book stores.
So they want to sell comic books directly. They want to be their own comic book store.
I think they're losing money to Amazon severely because, even though Amazon's selling, issues after the fact, after they've come out and all that kind of stuff, they're not selling like new issues. And I think they're going to try and fill that niche to be, okay, we're going to sell new issues, but we're going to sell them directly to the consumer, kind of like Amazon in a way.
Well, the first thing they're going to put out, and I agree with that. The first thing they're going to put out of business is all the online comic retailers.
Yeah,
I mean, that's who they're going after. Brick and mortar stores, people aren't going to buy from Diamond over going to a comic store. I think they're thinking of, and this is where it might make sense. Places there aren't comic stores. There is large swaths of America without comic stores. There's 50 less stores. Just did a video about that. Please check it out. in the last calendar year. So if for like mail order to somebody in Barrow, Alaska, or in the middle of Nevada, although there's actually some pretty good comic stores in Nevada, Idaho. I don't know how many comic stores are in Idaho, maybe in Idaho Falls, but that's where it makes sense, and I'm sure they've talked to the comic book retailers before announcing this, because that would make some people furious, and I'm sure it still is. But if they explain it like that, then or international sales, or countries that don't normally get or have comic stores, yeah, that's cool. No problem with that. More readers is good. That's that. I don't want to sound like that, but I don't know. I'm just
I just kind of find it funny. I don't know why. Like, remember Marvel and DC used to have the home subscription service?
Yeah, they still do.
Yeah. And if you think about it, all those guys could actually move away from Diamond by really promoting the same kind of subscription service that, Diamond is now, trying to promote, this pull box thing to comic book stores. So they go direct to them.
It's just a timing thing. You've always been able to subscribe from Marvel directly. You just get your comics. It used to be rolled up, and you would get them a few days late. This whole like gotta be on at the comic shop for new book day is like that. I'm still like that, okay, but not everybody is, and people who can wait, there's a lot cheaper. But people just want to go inside the comic store. If you have an option, you have a good comic store that's fun to hang out in. Definitely support them. I know not everyone is fun to hang out, and I went to one 2 days ago. It's a big chain. I'm gonna name him. Screw it, because I know the owner, and he's a good guy. It's A1 Comics in Sacramento. There's 3 of them now, and it is a badass comic store. It is great. So I took my lunch hour from work. I was on the road. That was the day I drove for 4 hours, did 5 minutes of work, drove for 4 hours back. It's a great job. So I took my lunch hour in a comic store, and I went to A1 Comics, and it's like a mini grocery store. It's that big. It's a big comic store. And, I got greeted by the friendly guy in front, some bearded guy like me. I'm all, hello, fellow bearded guy. And welcome to the comic store. I felt all greeted and happy, and I'm walking in there, and there's only like 4 or 5 guys in there. And then I went up to the chick stand, and I encountered Kyle. Kyle looked sad. Kyle didn't say a word to me during the whole transaction. Kyle, you work at a comic store, man. Crack a smile, say hello. I don't know. That doesn't help comic shops. I know it's hard to find good work, but you got to smile, Kyle. Like, your name rhymes with it. Yeah, but that was like, you're in this comic store, and he just looked totally depressed. I'm like, wow. Something bad must have happened to him.
Maybe something bad did happen to him. Maybe he saw me
in my shop, though.
Maybe he had just watched Mute and finished watching.
Maybe he did. Okay, then I take it back.
He was trying to process that.
Like, what did I just see?
You like that callback, by the way?
Yes, I did. That poor little girl. Like, she doesn't win.
Yeah, no, she doesn't. Nobody wins in this thing.
No,
nobody at all.
Not even the viewer definitely doesn't win.
Yeah, the viewer doesn't win at all.
Watch the tick. So like, yeah, that's weird. The Diamond's doing this. DC's doing pretty good right now, and then we have Marvel. This Fresh Start stuff came out, and I heard it. I know, yeah, feeling fresh. I think the same thing.
Marvel Now Part 2.
It is. That's what it is. And I wanted to be optimistic. Somebody had texted me at work, so I text you. I'm like, so and Dennis and I did a freaking podcast about this in January of last year. Okay, it's like we talked about this in January. Yeah, we're talking about legacy. We were talking about this very thing happening, and I almost want to just play that again, because the one thing we said in that podcast is, like, if they do this, if they actually hit the reset button, and Marvel's not going to ever hit the reset button. Okay, they're not going to do a DC rebirth, and what they're going to do is just spin this into a way to make more money for them. and screw the retailers. They're going to do more incentive covers, and they're really not they're not going to get rid of some of these crappy characters they have, and not some of these low selling books. If you go and read the comic book like Bleeding Cool and stuff, you would think that some of these comics are the best selling things ever, but you go to Comic-Con and look at their sales. It's an open website, and they track sales all the way back to the early 90s. These comics aren't selling for crap. Okay. The Marvel comics are in the tens of thousands for sales. That's freaking indie comic. Image sells better than that. And it was back in 2013. So they're going to do this. We're going to slap in some number ones on a few issues, and we're going to do 1 in 500 incentives with some lenticular metal covers made out of sealskin or whatever. And every time they did crap like that, my bill would go from $2,500 to $4,500 because I had to buy, I had speculators, and I sold the 1 in 500 comics for $400, and somebody would buy it, and that would take care of it. But there's no good stories in there, and it's just people buy. It's just more of the same, and like, oh my god, even saying this now, it was old a decade ago. That whole business technique was old a decade ago. So I made a video last night because it really, man, it pissed me off. I was thinking about it for like 2 days. At first I was like, I'll wait till Friday, and I'm like, I'll just do a video to get it off my chest.
Did you sit in your lawn chair out in the out on the lawn for a couple of days to mull it over?
No, I don't have a lawn, but I just sat on my porch and started yelling at people.
Okay,
no,
that's good.
Actually, instead of yelling at people, I came up with suggestions on like what they could do to make up for what they've done, because they were solely responsible for I won't say all 50, but most of those comic stores in the last calendar year that closed was because of Marvel. Marvel is the big shark. DC's its little mate, and everybody else is pilot fish. Okay. And how they go is where everybody goes. And when they suck, it brings everything down, even when DC's doing good. And they knew they were sucking for so long. Dennis bailed out. You bailed out of comics, what, a year ago? Okay.
Oh, more than that.
Yeah.
In 2 years now.
2 years now. And John is only digital now. I just jumped back in. It was mostly because of Mr. Miracle and DC. My pull is all DC. First time in my life, my pull is only DC. Blue Moon Comics in San Rafael, California is the lucky store.
Yeah, Walking Dead, actually, last year's sales for Walking Dead beat all the Marvel titles.
Yep,
in sales
consistently.
Yeah,
consistently kicking their ass. A black and white comic book. So my if you go back and watch the videos, my suggestions were kind of out there, but one of them was Marvel should make all their comics 100% returnable to the retailer for a year. Mm-hmm. Now, I would say that's the good start of a negotiating, but I would do that. It is possible. It is not impossible. And also make your comics cheaper. Start printing on pulp again. Alternate Comics does this. They do it well. And I think Marvel should immediately go back to that. Make everything across the board cheaper for a little while, and just make it clear that this is temporary. We're going to do this for 1 year. So comic stores can build up some savings, so we can save the comic stores that are on the brink of closing. You can't save the ones that are gone, and they're never coming back, and that sucks. That really, really sucks.
I'm going to chime in here. Ghost World says you can't blame the makers of the content for the failure of the stores. Yes, you can, actually. It's the same thing like movies. If you are making really shitty products, people aren't going to go. People aren't going to buy, because they're not going to go and watch, Expandables 18, which is the same as Expandables number 1.
Expandables?
Expandables. That's what I call it. I never call it Expendables. It's
I respectfully disagree. Okay, so when a comic store before this year, if it was just a few comic stores, it's absolutely the comic shop's fault. Okay,
yeah.
So I don't equate my selling my store had nothing to do with this. This was that was all on me, and for the most part, agreed. It's not like they don't bear some. The owner always bear. There's because comic stores survived. So you're right in the sense that they can see it coming, and they can do something about it. But some are just, some comic stores are always just kind of living on the edge, and they're just there because they love the job, but they can only lose money for so long. Like I wasn't even like technically losing money in my store. I was just breaking even, but I broke even for like 2 years straight. I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm tired of like, it's fun and everything, but daddy's got to make some money. But when 50 close in a calendar year, that was because the product's bad. And again, I'm not saying every one of those 50 stores, but they sped the process up. So, maybe those shops would have gone out of business in a couple of years anyway. So I see your point there, but I think they pushed them over the edge.
But you look at it this way, comic stores, when you have good product out there, your comic stores are actually your marketing tool as well, because it's what people see when they're going in. Online, you can have, I understand. Yeah, they're going to move. And as Ghost World said, they just turn their marketing to Amazon and not stores. Thing is, though, you don't see all that product on Amazon because it's not all front and center. A lot of people don't look below the fold. They don't scroll down. And whereas comic book stores, you have everything up on those shelves where you can go in and peruse it and take a look at it. You can flip through it, read it, depending on the comic book store owner. And that's your marketing tool right there. So if you have bad product that's not moving off the shelves and you're not letting stores return those products, they're going to start buying less of your product because your product sucks and is not coming off the shelves and it's coming out of their pocket. And they're going to close, definitely, which means you have less marketing out there, which means you're going to be producing less comics as what's happening. And soon you're going to go out of business as well, publishing wise, because it's just not going to be enough to print 5,000 comics of a title because that's all it's selling.
And that's why the prices have gone up so much, because the sales have been stagnant. In the video, I point out, I show Amazing Spider-Man sales over 23 years, and they're, flat. I mean, actually on a downward trajectory, but slightly, but not up. Listen, I there's a video for another day when all the dust settles that I could rip into some retailers. Okay. Because a lot of guys are lazy in their shops. I was in a shop, not going to name it. I couldn't find anything. He just, and like, there was no rhyme or reason. And, I remember Russ, the guy I bought the comic store, he did that too. And he's all, oh, it forces people to look for stuff. I'm like, no, it just looks like a big freaking color salad on your wall. I can't find freaking anything.
Yeah.
It just takes a lot of freaking work to do cycle sheets and keep those damn things in alphabetical order. And I did it in true alphabetical order across the board. I didn't, we separated it with the big two. We separated the big two when alphabetical order, but true alphabetical order, like how it would show up on your previews. And then, when somebody asks, you show them how it is. You don't go, oh, just go over there and that's somewhere in that corner or whatever. That kind of retailer, they're not going to last long. But Marvel like really crapped the bed this time, and to come out and say like, look at us, we're doing a fresh start, man, we're awesome. It's like, no, you're not. I would just be a little more humble. I would come out and just go, I'd be serious. I'd be like, these are serious times and it's time for Marvel to have a serious change. And, we're freaking sorry that we sucked for 2 years and cost a bunch of people their jobs and, or helped, had a say in it. We'll say that. Okay. And then it took a bunch of YouTubers to get change to happen because the comics media sure didn't help with that. And I don't know if the change is even going to happen. I don't know if it's going to help. It's not going to be, this industry is never going to be what it was in the 80s. I just want it to be around. I don't mind if it's, if it stays a niche industry, I'll actually be happy. I'm fine with that. What does really well is like little bookstores, little vinyl stores here in the city. Anyway, I don't know what it's like out in the burbs in the country, but here in San Francisco, there's a bunch of little used bookstores and used vinyl stores that are kicking ass. They're great and they're fun places to go. And yeah, so I think there'll always be a place for that, and that's kind of what it should be, because that's how it started out. It's back, here in the city of San Francisco. This is where the first comic store happened. Okay, San Francisco Comics by Gary Arlington. He was the first official comic book retailer. Yeah, there was guys doing flea market stuff before that, but he was the first one to open up a store and call it a comic store. And this is kind of the birthplace of it. And there's still a lot of comic stores here, believe it or not, with the stupid rent that's in this place. God, I can't imagine what they're paying though right now. I mean, freaking James at Isotope must be paying like 20 grand a month down there.
Yeah, he's gonna be paying.
Oof. That's an awesome store though. He's a good guy. He has an awesome store. So yeah. But yeah, but other than that though, like a comic store going out of business is usually always on the owner and how they dealt with things. So
yeah. I actually had a really good idea for rebooting Marvel, and I was saying you go from Brand New Day, and you erase everything that happened from Brand New Day by just having Scarlet Witch being awoken from a nightmare that was started by Nightmare, the Marvel Comics Nightmare, and that she had physically manifested all of everything from Brand New Day, and that no longer exists now that she's awoken from the nightmare, and it just resets everything back to where it was. What was it, 4 years ago?
Oh, it was a little more than that.
Okay, yeah, it was 6 years ago, right?
It was like 8 years ago.
Was it 8 years ago? Okay, yeah,
8 years. And there would be a time where people would laugh at that, but I think people would actually take that right now.
Yeah,
I think they'd be okay. I'm fine with that. I'm cool. Because when Marvel Now came out, it was promising. The story started out really well. There was some fun stuff there, and there was just zero follow through on it. Just none. And I even mentioned in the video before the Furor hit, I Googled Marvel reboot, and all the Marvel Now shit showed up. Right? Like there was two fresh start Marvel, and then it was like, and it said 2012 Marvel Now. I thought that was funny. So sorry, I'm gonna pop my phone up and see some of the comments here. How's everybody doing in the comment section?
They're talking amongst themselves about
good.
And Ghost World was still saying that it's still the on the comic book stores to stay open, not the content.
You got to be selling good content to be open. Now there is a way to have a comic store without having any new release stuff. There is our friend Jamie pulled that off.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, back you're right. Issues. You could just live off of back issues forever. And if you find a nice low rent place, you don't need new releases at all. You're not going to make a ton of money, but it'll be kind of a fun job.
Did anyone read Civil War II is what Ghost World also asks here.
I did not. Hell no. I wouldn't. No. So for one, they did Civil War II. This is why I didn't read it. Okay. For one, I didn't read comics at all for a couple of years after I sold the store, just because I needed a break. But I saw Civil War II, and it came right off the heels of Secret Wars, where they pretty much ended the 616 as we know it.
Yeah.
Okay. I know it's still alive in some way, but the 616 that I grew up died with Secret Wars. And they started mixing in Miles Morales, which is cool. I always wanted Miles Morales to come in and kind of be the Robin to Peter Parker's, Batman. But when I saw the lineup for Civil War II, and I saw the whole premise behind it, and when Civil War came out, it felt like they were there was years leading up to that. Okay, it started with Avengers Assembled, and Civil War was kind of the end of that whole big story arc. Civil War II was just to coincide with the movie that came out.
Yeah.
And even with Marvel Now, you were still feeling repercussions from Civil War. I was really pissed off that they ended the 616. So I'll probably go back and read it. I'm going back now to read stuff, but at the time I was like, hell no. I don't know. What do you think of it, Ghost World?
Actually, I was going back here as well because he hasn't responded back there. But Eric Barley had said, can a publisher just make the graphic novels passing by the comics? The individual comics. Yeah. Doesn't mean they're going to sell, but
title Dennis and I were discussing Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur should totally just be like a digest and not a floppy, because the floppies don't sell for crap, but the digests end up in a lot of libraries and they do pretty well in the trade market on that one. That's one that they should just make a digest. There's I think a lot of stuff, a lot of the YA stuff that they've been doing lately, it really went hard for that YA audience that just wasn't there. That's to my point earlier. Marvel really swung and missed on going for a crowd that doesn't read comics. They talk about comics all day long on Twitter and stuff, and they love the superhero movies, but they don't go and actually buy comic books. Maybe they'll pick up a trade once in a while, but no comics.
Ghost World hadn't read Civil War II. He said that's why. He says, I don't know. That's why I asked you fools.
Dude, I sold my store in 2013. So Marvel Now was still going on. I only started picking up comic books again in the last year. So, but I'm reading backwards now. And no, it looks like I still need to read Secret Wars. I want to read that first. So, you know what? There's a lot of them in quarter bins, though. Found that out.
You remember that the Shield book that was out about Michelangelo, and you remember that they never finished? The last issue is finally coming out.
Oh, thank goodness!
I just
still
read
not as long as Ghost Rider.
No, it's not. But I still was laughing, just going, "Really? That came out like 8 years ago?"
Yeah.
I mean, that was a good book, but it started getting a little long in the tooth there. It needed some shortening, and then it just kind of, never ended. And now they're going to end it finally.
I liked that book a lot in the beginning. All-Star Batman and Robin, Jim Lee.
I think they finally finished that one.
Did they finally finish that one? That's good. Yeah. Now, the Iron Man, John Favreau comic, the Fing Fang Foom one, Viva Las Vegas.
Oh, I don't know what happened.
Never going to finish that one.
Yeah.
No, that one's done forever. That was good too. That's such a bummer.
Dante S says, my opinion, comic shops have to be a coffee shop or arcade style. Make people want to stay and hang out. Someone would have to be extremely creative to make it work. Gary, your opinion on that one?
What makes people want to hang out in a comic store is you got to the proprietor or your manager has to be a very talkative, outgoing, good customer service, a good person, somebody people want to hang out with, a little bit of charisma, but mostly just a good conversationalist, a genuine conversationalist. Not a lot of that with comics shop retailers, unfortunately.
As I told Roger, actually, one time we were at ImageCon, the very first ImageCon, I said, man, you got to be a little bit of Steve Jobs and a little bit of P.T. Barnum.
Yeah. So, and that's stuff you can't teach. It just depends on the owner. Yes, I had a couple of arcade games in there for a while. I was offering free coffee, but people hung out in our store because I had chairs. That's it. They sat in the chairs and they hung out for hours. Dennis would hang out for hours. He would. And Matt would hang out for hours. We had a good group of people that would mix up. But the one thing I really made sure of is that group that was hanging in there, we weren't just talking to each other. The minute somebody else walked in, that person got my attention because those guys, well, I know those guys. They know I'll come back to them. And that's a hard one to play sometimes because you got this group of girls and guys having this like really intense discussion, and the new person walks in the room and everybody naturally gets quiet just to be, polite. But the new person like goes, oh, why'd they get all quiet when I walked in? Yeah, it makes things weird. So that's why your comic shop can't be quiet. You want it to be busy. All right. A little bit, think of Adderall and freaking candy or something like that. I had video screens going, playing something all the time, but the sound was turned down. I had music cranked up. I had vintage arcade games in there, a vintage Spider-Man pinball machine. And we had couches, we had coffee, people could just chill. We actually had parking in San Francisco, and people hung out for hours, and it was great. Dude, we'd shut the door and hang out for another 2 hours. I loved it. It was the best. And yeah, it didn't hurt having really good customers. Like just we got the slice of life people in San Francisco. I was near the school, but I was like near, we got a lot of working. We had everything. We had students, we had broke people, and we had high powered attorneys and movie directors. And it was a good group of people. I miss them a lot. I miss them a lot. That's the business part of it, man. I don't miss that very much, but I miss the people for sure.
Ghost World says, oh, I'm sorry.
No, go on.
Ghost World says, I'm telling you guys, the idea of going to stores to buy something that you can get or read at a Barnes & Noble or just download is going to die out very quickly. Thing is, Barnes & Noble's, the nearest one to me is 15 miles away. I'm not going to go to 15 miles to a Barnes & Noble when I can go 5 miles away to the nearest comic book store.
Well, hang on. Let me get to that comment real quick.
It's up a little bit.
Besides John feeling pukey, that was the only thing I was saying. Sorry. I like Barnes and Noble. I miss having. I miss big. I liked retail. Okay, I just did. It just depends on your desire and your taste. Like I will go out. The comic shops aren't the most convenient things to get to. Okay, they're usually in like lower rent parts of town, and they usually have crappy parking, or the country ones are cool. I will go, I don't leave a town without going to its comic stores. I visit them all. That's part of my wife knows that. Like we go to Palm Springs, she's already knows that I've mapped out the 3 comic stores and I'm going there. And it's, maybe not the first thing, but it's the second thing I'm going to do. Because I love getting ideas. I love talking to other owners to see, God, this whole YouTube thing started out for me as research to open another comic store. And this whole channel is going to be part of a new comic store. And I do tons of research on it. I ask a lot of people. I steal little bits from everybody I meet, the stuff I like. And yeah, but I don't know, with the I don't know if Barnes & Noble is going to be around much longer. They're not doing that great right now.
The few that are left aren't doing bad. They're not like hanging on by their fingertips anymore like they were, because they've thinned out enough that when people find them, like, oh, hey, and then they actually go to them.
Well, I just think that idea of having this ginormous building is very 20th century. I think if they went smaller, kind of like what Walden Books used to be, they'll be fine. But I think it's just a lot easier honestly, I could open a comic store tomorrow. It's not very hard. You got to get a little product. You get a little bit of money with Diamond. They get you on this little starter program. And some of the comic stores I've seen are essentially just newsstands. You just want to do something really small. You could do we could do a pop-up shop tomorrow.
It's funny you mentioned that, because Amazon has a bookstore, a brick and mortar bookstore at the UTC Mall. And it's one of the only ones in California at the moment, or Southern California. And it's small. It's like a Walden Books. But the nice thing about it is it's tied into their online store too. So if they don't have it there, you can actually just go in and, order it through them, and you can either have it delivered there or delivered to your house. So you can do it either way, and you still get the Amazon prices. Huh. So you just type in your email, and your Amazon Prime account comes up, and you get your Amazon Prime price.
And then a little shop dies somewhere. No, you know what? I like, excuse me. The convenience of Amazon is amazing. I just don't shop. Again, this is a conscious decision. I just don't shop with them unless I have to. I absolutely is like, they are my last option in the world, because I want to keep, I was a small business person. I want to keep them open. And that whole, like, my convenience isn't worth losing a couple shops. I might be that might be super old fashioned of me, but it's and I also like going to talk to people. I like getting out of the freaking house. I don't want to just turn into a blob waiting for my stuff to come in from Amazon. But that's just me. That's me. They offer a lot of cool stuff. Hell, I bought this microphone on Amazon, but like, yeah, it's scary convenient, but I won't forget what they did. They did this thing where they sent people in, and if you used the Amazon barcode scanner inside of a bookstore and a comic book store, they would give you some kind of gift card. I can't remember. It happened in 2010, and they got in a lot of trouble for this. And what they were doing was mining research on small businesses, and they were offering up like a gift card or something like that if you went and scanned some of their products. So that's when I made the rule: you cannot scan shit in my store. So that if I caught you scanning something, you were out with your phone. I didn't care. People could take pictures all day long. But yeah, I'll have to look up exactly what it was. But I remember hearing about that, about blew my freaking top. And that was Amazon going right after small businesses. I can't remember what it was, though. It was really nasty. And they were just mining research. And like they needed to, like what damage could I have done to Amazon? So yeah, there's that, but they do give us the tick. So thanks, Jeff Bezos. Yes, I've been to a Barnes and Noble. I went to a Barnes and Noble 2 nights ago in Corte Madera.
Nice.
Yeah.
James Hayes says a friend noted that his local comic shop was only ordering top-selling DC titles and just one Marvel book by customer request now. Is this true in your area?
I got to read that again. I got distracted because you went blank. Oh, don't.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
I did.
So who said that again? Sorry.
James Hayes.
How far up is that?
It's up a little bit. You want me to read it again?
I got it. A friend noted that his local comic shop was only ordering top-selling DC titles and just one Marvel book by customer request now. Is this true in your area? Not yet. God damn it. Sorry. Not yet, but that is something I actually toyed with when DC was sucking in 2012. I was right after New 52. Not the New 52. They started the New 52, and I was so pissed off about it at the time. I was like, I'm not going to sell any of this shit. I was thinking about not selling DC at all. I was so fucking mad at DC because they just kept relaunching and canceling good title. You know what I was actually mad that they canceled Paul Dini's Zatanna. That put me over the edge. I'm like, what? I have heard
Batman Beyond. Yeah.
We're in a big enough city and we're in a San Francisco is going to buy a lot of those titles. And so they're still doing okay. But indie titles have really taken it in the shorts. They're not doing very well right now at all. Because a lot of the indie creators are doing web comics now. And yeah, it's weird because the economy's not bad. It might not be great for everybody, but at least here, I can only speak for San Francisco where I live. The economy's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, in San Diego, the economy is booming as well. So,
yeah, I don't know where it is where you guys live. So that's where Marvel comes in, and that's I'm not surprised to hear that though. I heard some YouTubers talking about that, some other stores in the Midwest doing that, but nothing here yet, not yet. In the 3 stores that I've been to here, I haven't been. There's still 7 stores in San Francisco. There's a couple I have not been to in a couple of years. So, Amazing Fantasy on Irving Street, great store. And Isotope, the Comic Book Lounge by James Sim is in Hayes Valley. That one's really, really good. But yeah, our comic stores here in San Francisco are all niche. They're really small, and they cater to they have one focus. Like James will be indie. Mission Comics and Art is it's like an art gallery. Comics and Cards Central is like Hot Toys Central.
Yeah.
They have some comics, but they're all about the toys. Amazing Fantasy and I were like identical. We were just like, we love superheroes, but we'll sell indie stuff too. Yeah.
Is my video back, by the way? Because
it's back now, but yeah, your connection's been kind of bad.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
Maybe it might be your location. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm plugged in, so maybe just because I moved across the room or something like that, that might have done it. So what else was I saying here? I was looking at some stuff.
Your video is gone, Dennis. Yeah, his video is gone. That was weird. That might have been a YouTube thing. I've never seen it go blank like that. Usually you have your avatar come up, and that didn't even come up.
Yeah, I actually just turned off my camera for a second and then turned it back on again. So I don't know if that was something weird.
There you go.
Yeah. Ghost World says the hardcore hobbyists, yes, will still go, but to the newer generation, there's literally no incentive. They can go on YouTube, see videos on the heroes and stories.
Could not agree with you more on that one. I kind of said that in the video last night. It's just dying out with our generation and the older millennials who bought comics, but even my kids, they love the superheroes, but my older one could give a crap, but the younger one loves Spider-Man, but he's not gonna, he'll read a comic if I give it to him. He'll read it, but he doesn't ask me to go get them. Mm-hmm. And it's all about YouTube. So I think there's a lot more people who watch videos that talk about comics than read them, for sure. And that was actually one of the debates I was watching. That was the opposing side. That was the one point they made that I absolutely agree with, that there's more people talking about them, and there's bigger communities of, the comics gate guys. That's a bigger community than actually buys comics. And I think I wouldn't even say half of them buy comics, maybe a quarter of them buy comics. And there's lots of excuses I hear, and I heard them from a lot of people at the store. Some are good, like they're very expensive, and they're way too expensive, and it's way too easy to pirate them.
Yeah.
And that's my argument though, is if you're going to pirate comics, you weren't going to buy one anyway. So that one, go ahead. I don't care. It gets you reading, and maybe when you're older and you have a job, you'll come and buy some comic books.
Yeah.
So that never bothered me very much. But digital's never going to take off. Not until they get rid of comic stores, or they undercut the comic stores finally, which might do.
Ghost World says, do the comic stores near you guys have a sort of boundary line set between each other?
No, we were a friendly bunch. Comics and Cards Central is the only one who doesn't hang out with anybody or talk to anybody. He's kind of off on doing his own thing, but he's far enough away. Yeah, he's a gaming. Yeah, he's not a bad guy.
No.
Like Howard's not a bad guy, but Frank and James and Brian and Leaf, we all are friendly with each other. Like when one of us ran out of Batman, we'd call and say, "Hey, can I have some of your Batman?" And dude, I would drive them over to him, or they would drive them to me. Mm-hmm. Brian Hibbs was extremely helpful. He's got a gruff exterior. He's the guy who bought my store. He owns Comics Experience. He also successfully sued Marvel. Gruff exterior, but heart of gold. Actually, that guy, he will give you the shirt off his back. He'll just make you feel like kind of a dick about it, but no, it's just it's how he comes off. He's really not a dick. It just it's his tone of voice. It's hard to explain. You got to meet him. But no, we were a good crew. Now in LA, it's really different. There are like comic book wars, and people don't like each other, and that's kind of more of the norm, I think. But we got along, and I think it's just because we're so damn close to each other. San Francisco's 7 square miles. That's it. So we're on top of each other pretty much. Yeah.
Well, actually, it's about 52 square miles, but
what? 7 by 7.
7
by 7.
Yeah, which is 49.
Okay, well, 7 by 7. We call it 7 by, yeah. So sorry, 7. It's not a big place at all. So.
Dante S says, do people still go to arcades anymore? Yes, as novelty.
There's an arcade bar.
Yes, arcade bars is the hottest thing now.
That my oldest son goes to, that he loves. But the only arcade I remember just closed. It was in San Rafael, like legit arcade. That's all it was. It didn't sell beer. You put your quarters in the machine and played machines. It just closed like 2 months ago. Sad.
Pier 39 is still open. Their arcade that they have.
Yeah, their penny arcade thing. Yeah. That'll always be open because it's funded by the state. So yeah. But we're talking like a privately owned arcade.
Oh no,
I can't think of one.
That's not owned by the state though. That's actually just it's Pier 39's tourist trap thing that they have going on.
I thought that was like a city thing or a state thing, like a historical thing.
No, you're thinking of the museum mechanic over by Cliff House, underneath Cliff House there. That one's owned by the state, yes.
Well, somebody's got to own that thing because they can't make money.
Yeah.
Like the machines don't take enough money. They take pennies, and it's a giant building on Pier 39. So they're getting some state funding if it isn't from the state. There's no way that's a private business.
Let's see.
Unless it's like somebody who like just doesn't give a shit and owns some other big piece of land and they're like, we'll keep that the same.
Could be.
Dude, there's no way that's a private business.
That's
nobody in there. Yeah. So that's state funding. Believe me.
Let's see here. Yes. So Ghost World says, okay, guys, it's 2 a.m. here, and the wine is finally taking its grasp on me. And he's done for the night.
Good
night,
buddy. Good night. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up pretty soon.
Yeah.
But I definitely try to go out of your way to go to your local comic store. I mean, if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. That's cool. But if you want comics to be around, I think it'd be good to once in a while support one. Just put a few dollars that way, just for a little while. And maybe the industry will pick back up again. It's never going to be what it was. It's always going to be kind of listen, cruising speed is fine. It's okay for the comic industry. And that's how a lot of comic shops, actually the best way to survive as a comic shop owner is to stay small as you can. Don't hire anybody, have a nice little shop, get a good bit of subscribers. Don't, buy collections. Don't buy a lot from Diamond. And yeah, you can go for years. Now your store's never going to really grow, but it'll stay like Brian Hibbs is brilliant at that. His store is not flashy at all. It's a bookstore, but he's been around for 30 years. So he's doing something right. I like the flashy. I definitely like, if you're going to go do something, be in a comic store, like make a splash,
James Hayes asks, is manga more popular now than comic books, at least in sales?
Yes. I think it has been for many, many years. If we were talking worldwide or just in America.
I think he's talking about just here in the States.
Just here in the States? Ooh, I don't know what manga sales are. I would say yes. I would, the sections are massive in bookstores. They have their own stores, lots of them. Japantown had a giant one. I don't know if it's still there, but
it's still, it's got a downstairs that's just nothing but manga, and the upstairs is the bookstore.
I would say yes, they sell on the average more than comic books. Comic books, the whole entire industry in 2016 was like a $600 million industry, which, that's still a lot of money, but it's and a lot of that was from trades. Trades are still what's floating the entire industry. So, which is surprising to me, because like I buy so little trades. I've never it's right now it's cheaper to get 4 comic books than the trade. If you ever go on eBay and it's been a few months and you want to pick up the trade, it's way cheaper to just go to eBay and get the 4 comics.
Yep.
They're usually like $1 a piece, So yeah.
So people are just talking about how they go to comic book stores. David Schmein says
Comics is awesome.
That he goes to 3 comic book stores and spends a ton of shekels to keep him going.
Hell yeah, with the shekels. Thank you. And Chicago Comics is very impressive, by the way. I love Chicago. That was a great town. I used to hate manga. Used to talk shit about it all the time.
I remember.
But, I have great respect for it. I really do. I do. I still don't like it, but I have great respect for it. Some of it I've come around on anime quite a bit. I've actually watched some and I've been very entertained. Love Attack on Titan. I freaking love that. It's so weird. Yeah.
For me, manga, when it started hitting the East or the West Coast here from Japan back in the 80s, we had one company out here that was translating stuff. It was Viz Media. And that's how I kind of started getting into a little bit of that, was through Viz Media. And then also, San Francisco was a landing site for a lot of stuff coming over from Japan. So all your anime, your manga, all that kind of stuff was ground zero. Didn't hurt that we also had Japantown as well.
Japantown, yeah.
Japantown was just, boom, everything right there in one little spot. And I used to go, I'd watch anime stuff, rent the VCR, VHS tapes. God, bleh, it is getting late there. Watch that, and then also, every now and then pick up a manga book. And Crying Freeman was one of them that I used to get. What else? God, I can't remember now. It's been years since I've gotten any of that stuff, and I can't remember. But Crying Freeman is one of the ones I remember. Fist of the North Star. Fist of the North Star was awesome.
Fist of the North Star.
Yeah.
Get some mochi balls.
Yeah. Get a little bit of.
Well, they got the Kabuki Theater there now, where you can get. I guess I wonder if you get sake at the Kabuki Theater. I bet you could.
You probably could. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get beer there. Yeah, love Japantown. It's just a little mall near the Fillmore.
Hey, Jody, Viz Comics actually started up in the 80s. I'm talking about, like, this is the pre stuff that, I remember when they first started, and they were actually based in Los Angeles at the time. I don't know exactly where they're based out of. I think actually they're based in San Francisco now.
They're here now. Yeah. Because a couple of my customers did some translating for them.
Yeah. But I remember they started off in Los Angeles, and they moved up to San Francisco, and then they became really big in the 90s and just started, that whole explosion of anime and manga came through them. And then just spread. A lot of other companies came out. So.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's more stuff up here than I even realize. Well, it's not like these buildings have giant signs out. It's like the Sega building. Remember the Sega building had a giant Sega sign on the outside. But you could walk by, you'll be walking downtown and like, oh, here's Mozilla. This is where Mozilla is. It's very unimpressive. It's a tiny little building, and yeah, or you walk by like or Twitter. Twitter's got a building.
That monster building on Market Street, I know.
Yeah, Salesforce, that stupid thing.
Yeah. The dildo in the sky.
Yeah, yes. YouTube. Yeah. You could YouTube walk by. Well, YouTube's not in San Francisco. YouTube's in San Bruno. It's in a weird place. It's the old Yahoo building, right? So it's like by a bunch of car dealerships. Oh, and it's like a stone's throw from the San Andreas Fault. Yeah, right there. Yeah. So what was that? When is The Expanse 3 starting? April, was it 15th?
The Expanse is April 13th.
YouTube Vlog Life. What's up? Is that April 13th?
I take that back. That
11th?
was.
I thought it said April 11th.
April 11th. Yes, you're right.
It's a Wednesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a Wednesday show, and we will be on within 15 minutes of the end of the first broadcast for sure. We're going to be freaking be there. Cannot wait.
But what we have going on this weekend? A lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, let's talk about that while we wrap things up. So the Tick just dropped, and we're going to do either a 2-part podcast or just talk about the whole series in one. We'll see how it goes tomorrow night. That's going to be tomorrow night. What do you want to say? 7 or 8?
I say 8.
8 p.m. 8 p.m.
Let's do 7 because we've got Ash vs. Evil Dead coming up. So
that's right. 7 p.m. Pacific time. We will be talking about the Tick. It'll probably be part 1 since we got Ash. And then after that is like the show. It's been torture.
Yeah.
Waiting over a year for this. We're going to go live right after Ash vs. Evil Dead airs at midnight on Amazon Prime or Stars app, Pacific time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And
9 p.m. our time is when it airs. And I believe it's like 40 minutes long. So 10 p.m. is when we're going to go on.
Yep, 10 p.m. And we're not going to put this one off. We are on right afterwards. And then Sunday, we have the excellent Counterpart.
Yes.
And then Monday, we if we do 2 parts of the Tick, we're going to do part 2 of the Tick Monday night. Then Wednesday, X-Files starts up again. Then we're going to do this fun Friday stuff that we always do. Sorry I was late tonight. The work is I got hung up waiting for some dude from Portland. Freaking where the young go to retire, Portland. We're gonna start up, and then wait, there's more after that. Then Krypton starts, and we're gonna cover Krypton.
Actually, yeah. So we have Krypton on March 21st. We have.
Hang on, I got my schedule right here.
Perfect.
I got my schedule right here. Let's get to January. My little superhero calendar there. Okay, so Ash is going to be on Saturday nights. Friday night podcast, of course. Counterpart is going to be Sunday night. Wednesday night is going to be the X-Files, and X-Files and Krypton. Krypton will take priority. Sorry to say. And after that, it's Legion. That's pretty much that until April, and then it's Legion, Expanse, and Westworld on top of finishing out with Ash and stuff. So April's going to be insane. We're going to have like 8 shows, and we're going to add more. And if you guys see something that we're not covering, please let us know. Want to hear about it? Like Fargo. I've been hearing a lot of people been chiming in about Fargo. So we'll cover it when it comes back. I think it's getting delayed though. I think it's going to be a while, but we'll definitely cover that one when it comes back. Yeah, Portland. What is that? I'm from Portland. Hi, Annie. You're cool. One of my best friends lives in Portland, but this guy left. Okay, so I'm in San Francisco. Portland's 1,000 miles away. It's not that far away. Okay, well that's a little ways, but he had I don't know, 16 hours to get here. He took every minute of the 16 hours to get here.
Yeah.
And I had to wait.
And Darth Barbecue, yes, Tick is really easy to binge, and it is hard to stop watching. I was only supposed to watch episode 6, episode 7. I watched episode 7 and episode 8, and then I was like, I got to stop because I need to watch Mute, which I'm kind of disappointed.
You really want your time back for that one. I got to work tomorrow, and I don't give a damn. I'm going to binge the hell out of Tick on the way out from here. So I feel like I'm forgetting a show, but just go to nerdrotic.com. We'll have all our schedule up. I'll get the schedule, but it's pretty tight right now. So the most exciting thing is the Tick and Ash in the same weekend. This is, and
we might be covering Lost in Space as well, because that's on Netflix on April 13th.
Yeah. And Jessica Jones. That's what I was thinking. Jessica Jones. We'll be talking about Jessica Jones, and how we do the Netflix stuff is we'll talk a little bit about it on our Friday night podcast, and then we get in depth in 2 parts on Saturday and then Monday. So that's how we do it.
David Schmeiden says, you guys need megos of yourselves. Wonder what the backing cards would say.
Use your imagination. Dennis's would be a resting disinterested face.
That's called resting bitch face. Okay.
No, it's just interesting. Bitch is an act of caring. You don't care. You're so not care. Yeah. Disinterested action. If that's even possible.
An action face.
Yeah.
And Viking Bitch, the Tick makes everyone happy.
It does. It made me happy.
Honestly, such a good show. It really is.
Did you like his battle cry when he got shot out of the cannon? Pensacola!
That was actually taken from the cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they're obviously saving Spoon till the very end.
That's till the very end. Yeah, it's not going to happen till the very end. I already know that. It's I did like. Yeah. I love. Oh, you know what? I'm seeing more and more of those stickers on cars around here lately.
Damn,
believe it or not.
Tick is dope. Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
And the other thing is what I loved at this first episode that we got back was the Tick was all antsy walking around inside Danger Boat. And he goes, I'm a man of action. I need to do something action-wise. And Danger Boat says, sit. And he sits there and goes, that strangely feels good.
Yep.
Because that was the action he needed.
The whole Danger Boat like hitting on the Tick and Tick just not picking up, and then asking about Arthur, all in the same thing. It was
no, he wasn't hitting on the Tick. He was feeling out the Tick because he had feelings for Arthur, and he was trying to figure out if Arthur and the Tick were together. that was what it was,
because he was strangely attracted to the Tick,
because
that's the vibe I got from it. That he was feeling them out, so he was like, do I have a chance with this?
He was feeling them out so he could see if he had a chance with Arthur.
Oh, with Arthur. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. That's fun. Well, I'm not interested in you. I was asking about your boyfriend.
Yeah, exactly. That's what made me laugh about it, because I'm just like, wow, that's wrong on so many levels.
That's right. Yeah.
That's brilliant, man. Jody says Gary Dennis's resting chill face.
Chill face, yeah. Resting narcolepsy face. That is super chill, man. I don't know if it's chill. But Dennis and I are mostly on our best behavior on this podcast, so
mostly.
I'm not, but
they mostly come out at night, mostly.
60% of the time it works all the time.
On that note,
we should really end this thing because I got to get to work and we're babbling. But guys, as usual, Annie, Viking Bitch, Jody, David Schmeiden. I just want to say, show me your papers when I say that. Sorry. And who else was there?
Darth Barbecue.
Sorry.
We had Johnny Pappas. Your friend Matt was here a little while ago. And we also have YouTube Vlog Life, who looks like a new listener, chatter. Thank you. And Ghost World, of course. We talked to Ghost World. And there's some people in the very beginning here that Leon was also on here. And Cisa I forgot Cisa and Kate Sizzle.
We haven't heard from Bam yet. I gotta post his pictures. He got his prize from Tick.
Yes. Yeah, and Dante. I forgot about Dante. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, Brian Smart. We gotta send Brian Smart that stuff too.
You gotta send me his address. I've got it sitting.
I'll shoot it to you. I always forget. I'll shoot it to you tonight. Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna have a prize for Ash, by the way. So pay attention to the first. We're also going to have a guest. I'm going to get her on either the second or third episode. She is a writer for 1428 Elm Street. She actually tweeted one of our videos and it like blew it up. Like she's freaking awesome. So it's Susan Layton from 1428 Elm, which is a fan-sided. She writes about Ash and all the horror stuff. She said she would join us. I asked her to come on for Ash because she is a ginormous Ash fan. So we're going to have an Ash prize package. Which will be announced tomorrow. Well, actually, tomorrow night. I was going to say later tonight, but now it's still
tease it for tomorrow. I think
we'll just tease it tomorrow. So,
And I also want to say Eric Barley was in another person I missed. That was the last person I missed.
Thank you, everybody, for watching. As usual, it's a great community. Love you guys. And hell, we might just do another one on Sunday. Jay will come back.
Hey, YouTube Vlog Life. I didn't know you've been watching our stream since 2015. Thank you. Awesome.
Damn. Dude, you are old time. That's when man, our stuff a little rough around the edge. Not that it's okay, never mind. It's the same.
I was gonna say it's gotten better. What?
Yeah. Just both of us have lost weight since then. That's about the only difference.
I'm working hard on gaining that back though.
No, don't do that.
Obviously.
Don't do that. No, you're looking sexy, baby. All right. Dennis, any final words, man?
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass on the way out.
May the small folks sing songs of your greatness. See you later, everybody.
Night, everyone.